in what I was seeing. And even coming back, looking around me like, no, this isn't true. This is a hallucination. And then I just couldn't believe what I was seeing or what I was being shown until I had to prove it to myself by doing targeted experiments, stuff like that they do in the CIA in
Mhm.
order to validate myself. Because a lot of these things, people will think that they will be going crazy because once you're out of your body, it feels no different from this interaction here right now,
Yep.
the physical conversation that we're having. So just not in person. If we were in person, it would be more. Yeah. Okay.
Now, do you see yourself in the form that you're in right now when you're traveling,
It,
or do you
my,
see yourself at all?
yeah, my physical form is very, very similar to
Mhm.
this.
Hmm.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Um, hmm.
Very,
I've
very
never
nice.
seen myself formless.
And then you see other entities, and they're like us, or you see angels and giants and uh, ETs and so forth. You see I don't think I've heard you say if you've seen extraterrestrials in your journeys. Have you?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Awesome.
What? Yeah, so I've seen when people think of the galactic races and stuff,
Hmm.
I've seen those races.
Mm.
So um, when people think of grays, for instance, they think there's only one race of those, which is the short little grays. But I've actually seen identified over four different versions of them.
Mm.
So yeah, I've seen them. And and for people to understand this more, it's like how are you seeing these beings if you're out of your body? It all comes down to the light spectrum. So
Mm.
right now, there are things all around us that we cannot see. But if we were to attune our ability to see more of that light spectrum, then automatically it's right there in front of us. So yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm a remote viewer, and I see things like that. Nothing like what you're seeing. My consciousness doesn't go within those realms, and I assume it's because you're in a different realm of consciousness. Is that what you're seeing? What you understand?
Well, I think this is pretty good because you do remote viewing. I'm doing out of
Hmm.
body, so this is going to be a perfect thing for the audience to see the difference that I talk about.
Yeah.
Well, when you are, give me one second. Well, no, when you are doing remote viewing, you are not. It doesn't feel physical like you could touch a microphone and it's as
Yeah.
physical as the okay, but you're still targeting, may get a bit fluffy or not fluffy, the vision of that may get a bit blurry
Mm.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but when you're out of your body, you are as this. Even so much so that you sometimes forget that when you're initially coming out, you feel like you're actually physically sitting up out of, like, you didn't even come out and you're walking around as you're in your soul form that is very, very physical. So um uh, repeat what you said anyways. I just wanted to get the
Yeah.
difference
That's
there
that's.
for
I think you said it perfectly. When I did the vision of Archangel Michael, I was just like you and I are talking right now. It's completely aware. Uh, I didn't see myself, but I looked down and saw myself blasted. But I saw him as I'm seeing you, because I was in that field of consciousness. Now, when I do remote viewing,
Mm,
I'm just sending out. I'm just looking. It's not
yeah.
me. There's no physicality. Things are kind of blurry.
Yes,
I
yeah.
kind of analyze them to a certain extent, as far as I can, because I'm in an altered, consciousness. But that's totally different from what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, the remote viewing is a bit, it's easier to do because the projection of consciousness,
Mm.
there's not enough well, you don't need to put that much effort in when it comes to shutting down the body. Like, sometimes it still takes me like 3 4 hours just to get my brainwave to the state to
Oh
where I
wow.
can exit. So yeah.
Mm.
um a lot of people don't have the well, when it's shown to them what's required, even though it's simple, they don't have the mental discipline to do it. And this is why,
Mm.
that focus fries you out as well. Um, Other things too. Yeah.
Wow, incredible. So it was progressive. It took me a long time to get into the state of consciousness. It would take, hour and a half, 2 hours to get in the state of consciousness in a remote view. And then eventually I got it down to the point where now I can just think about it and go. So that's fascinating. It still takes you a long time. Has that progressively gotten faster or shorter and shorter in your periods of how long?
It all depends. And I've tried to shorten that time frame, and I've
Mhm,
got it down to like handful of times, like 15 minutes, where I'm just able to do that.
mhm.
But that's only a handful of times. Well,
Sure.
most of the time, it's still that hour, 3, 4. I think the longest that I've actually been doing it to produce that state or to come out of my body has been maybe about 5.5 hours. I would say it
Wow.
was the very longest, and that was the yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure part of that is like being of this world because you're basically traveling vibrationally out of this world
Mhm.
and going into different realms. That's I would like to do that. I know you have like workshops. Do you teach people how to do that? Or that's incredible.
Yeah, over 62 testimonies of accounts, and
Hmm.
they're testimonies because they're people's their account, they're witnesses of that. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, people could do it. It's not a thing that you need to dedicate yourself. Give me one second, need water. Dedicate yourself 20 years in order to do this.
Hmm.
You see, that's the that is the way to try to get people discouraged from even trying this,
Hmm.
because people aren't aware how much this is in reach for them, because they believe that it's going to take them 20 years, whatever, half of their life of discipline to do this. But when they remember that, okay, when you go to sleep every single night, where do you think you're going? Even if you're unconscious of it, what do you think's happening? Do you think for a moment that the soul is going to sleep, like you just unconscious?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So when that clicks, and it's like, okay, well, if I'm leaving and going somewhere just unaware of it, how do I command awareness there? And
Hmm.
how do I do that consciously? And there's a handful of ways to do that. And once you figure that out, then it's just like, okay, I understand I'm leaving every single night and I'm becoming more conscious, more conscious. And even with inside dreams, you could become 100% conscious in a dream. And people are unaware of what a dream is. It's typically their subconscious, and they're playing subconscious things in that space. They're creating a dimensional space. And you could, there was a thing that I did coming out of my body. I actually stepped into somebody's um, subconscious. What they were thinking about a lot, and I was inside like this. Um, it's very green, lush nature, and I'm walking inside that. I'm like, oh my god, this is your space. And as I'm peeling through and I'm looking through that person's, you could say their mind,
Hmm.
I'm able to see what it is that they're actually desiring here. So mm,
Yeah. That's incredible. So your consciousness is expanding, and so these beings that you interact with, some of them are relatives that have passed,
mhm. Yes, yeah.
and they give you guidance. They've been there. They're like you. Oh, here you are. It's like let's go. Let me take you and show you around.
Uh, um, well, the, this goes into my uncle Bob, the relative that passed there. So all people that die here never die.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as it as death, and even with people that have near death experiences, they're always there. So it's more the first time I came in contact with Uncle Bob was more of a recognition and almost a apology before showing me things, showing me the connection from the third heaven, that time frame. You could say the last time that I was here. In that time, because I was only here through what I was shown. Only here. This would be the second time, and the last time I was here was inside that halls of Amenti when all the pyramids, everything was being. That's why I visit there most of the time, and that's why that connection is there, and that's why I was taken there the first time, basically over any other memory of here. So yeah, yeah.
What was your favorite realm so far?
Okay. I would say the third, because it's very close to the third and the 12th. Between
Wow.
yeah, those two. And then other than that, it's completely outside of here because you have the ability at your will to manifest
Hmm.
your own creation at that point.
And that must be something that you've been experiencing as far as like manifesting, because it's real consciousness, being in that state, and then pulling, with the love frequency and so forth, pulling something in. Have you been able to manifest on a faster level since you've been, going deeper into the OBE experiences?
Yes, yes, I have. Now, I mean, it's a question. It's a question that you're asking me. That's I mean, I could give context to it, but yes.
Yeah.
So with your ability with manifesting things here, all derives from your heart, and it derives from your heart in such a way that is not in the way that people believe the heart is or love is. It's just the moment you step into there, that is a point where you are able to manifest things in your life, and it's not just manifesting things in my life. It's also, there's been a dramatic shift in my life of support, and I don't want to take the credit for that for myself, because I could say green by doing this from the other side. I've gained some support, immense support, with doing this, that I've changed my whole life just to do this, to the point to where when I leave here permanently, that doesn't matter to me, because this is the only thing that matters to me now. So yeah, you get them getting that support as well, as
Yeah.
as many people do that choose that.
Yeah, I've heard you say several times you want to appeal and get this message across to as many people. Your shows are getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, so it's obviously you're manifesting, if you will, not necessarily you, but it's a greater experience. You have a lot of things that are involved with you that are pushing this and helping this to transpire.
Yeah. Well, it's the goal is to reach as many people as I possibly can, in
Absolutely.
whatever form. And the reason why I think the reason why the views are there to begin with is because regardless if someone believes of what I'm saying or they disbelieve of what I'm saying, there's something in the words and the frequencies of what I'm using from the other side, from that experience, that people have no choice but to feel it in some way, whether it's, I don't believe that, but something is happening, and it's because I'm speaking like your home is not here, and just getting people to remember again. And what once people remember, it just so happens to be that all of the lies just disappear without even having to defend truth, pretty much.
Yeah, beautiful. And somebody was asking, and I do this for myself sometimes. I basically bubble up. I imagine a bubble of love surrounding me when I do my remote views. Do you do anything like that when you're traveling, or is that a given? You're already protected, or how does it work for you?
Okay, so let me ask you this: why are you trying to protect yourself when you're remote viewing? You personally, why are you trying to do that?
Because some of the things that I remote view are, not of good. That's I look at different things that are geopolitically that are not very positive. I've looked at them before and I've been attacked. Then I learned how to stay within love frequency. Because I came in at one point in my early stages, I came in, I was like, I'm just going to attack the evil things that I see, and that didn't work out very good for me. So that's kind of what I look at. I feel like if I have the intention of, being in that love frequency and looking at things from a distance, it gives me protection. It has at this point. So that's really why I do it. But I understand where you're coming from, where you're probably directing is if I have fear of something, then I'm going to attract it.
No,
But okay.
not even that. Not even necessarily attract it. And don't take me saying this, or I know we're live, so none of this has any disrespect
Mhm.
at
Yeah,
all.
definitely. Not at all.
But your very need. Can you not see that your very need to protect yourself when you are in that state is that consciousness of thinking is actually the issue?
Yeah, can be, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Because the reason why I say that,
Mhm.
because once the moment that you come into this experience and you feel that you need to protect yourself, you automatically have forgotten at the foundation of who you are as a soul, that nothing could touch or entrap you, the soul, unless you believe it to be so. And the mere belief in the fear of protecting yourself already brings you down to the state to where fear is manifested within your space to even be touched to begin with. And that touching of you is still even an illusion, because who you are, your soul, can never be touched ever. If you are in the ultimate divinity and power of you realize that again. So when you're in these states, it should never come into your mind, how do I protect myself? How do I shield myself? Because me knowing what I know, if we both were out of our bodies, and I'm standing there in front of you, and you are like, I need to protect and shield myself, automatically you have given your power away to me. At that very moment, your power is in my hands for me to do as I will to you, based off that energy that you're in. Fear is a harvesting, it's a very easy harvesting energy, siphon your energy pretty much. But if we were both out of body and you said, well, you can't touch me because I 100% believe that to be so, that mere will of you, it would be impossible for me to do anything to you, just like any other being. 100% impossible to do, unless you are in fear of the beings too. I used to do the same thing. One seeing certain entities, seeing certain beings that I thought were nefarious, and I would attack these things or say leave. But anymore, because I understand the true power of love, anymore I reach out my hand to them, because if I cannot, in the true power of love and what I'm saying to you, cannot even basically reach out to the very evil, the darkest parts of evil, and not help it, then love is not the ultimate force of all creation. It would be evil. So when you understand the power of love, then you would be reaching your hand out to help it, because your very frequency in and of itself will help that back into love. Because all these negative beings, negative entities, etc., are all just things that have fallen temporarily out of love. That's it. And this is why even the greatest enemy here is to be loved. The greatest enemy is to be loved here. You could hate it, but at the end of the day, it is to be loved, because love is the thing that changes even that being back to love again. It's the only way.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Very, very good. Yeah, or they don't go to love, and then they somehow don't move on, I guess, because I've noticed that. So what if I send something love, and it seems, because I've done this, like Osama bin Laden, I was sending him love for about a year, and then my old SEAL team basically came in and took him out. So and I've done this for many other terrorists, and I've done it for political figures and so forth. But when I send someone love, my understanding is if they don't accept that love vibration, the strongest force in the universe, then
they'll just continue.
Yes. Very good.
No, totally understand that. They'll just continue, and this is where it goes into, again, no matter your will, it's all dependent on them, but they still return back to that regardless if it's the longest road to death, and then they wake up on the other side to realize that, but it's still they always return back to it. So even in the loving, to if someone were to ask me a question with and I was talking about this to somebody else, if someone were to say to me, Darius, is killing somebody a good thing? Is it good? Just give me yes or no. Now, if I were to say no, then without context around that, then automatically, you know, you could set me up for failure right there. There's a failure point. But Darius, you said killing is a don't do it. But with the context around it, if you are doing, for instance, if your daughter, son, whatever, someone had a knife to her throat right in front of you, was about to kill her, because Darius said killing is bad, don't do it, then therefore you would allow someone to kill your daughter right in front of you? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So the broader question to that is yes, but in context of love and only love, because love does protect. You see, but still, every action that you do should be from the highest state of love and love alone, nothing else. So I hope that gives more context, so people don't twist my
Definitely.
words or anything. Yeah, okay.
That's beautiful. And I've heard from people that, and myself included, that when you send out love, it can stop you from, becoming a target.
Yeah.
So I've experienced that on several occasions, and I've seen that happen. I've heard of that happening with other people. So, again, I mean, it could have a very positive effect on, a negative outcome that you think that you're going to witness. So that's amazing. So how did you get to that point? It took me a long time to get to that point. And I would say it was because I did a lot of spiritual work that prepared me. I feel like if I hadn't done the spiritual work, then I wouldn't have had the Archangel Michael experience. It would have been just like, boom, boom, you're just somebody else that's gone. But because I'd had that, workup, if you will, and maybe that was just presented to me as an opportunity for me to advance. What are your thoughts on that? Do you get those opportunities to advance because you've developed yourself, or do they come into your field of consciousness because it's time for you to go to the next level?
So I'll answer the question. How did you get to the state of that understanding?
Yeah.
It's been there with me since the beginning of my life. Seeing things that take place here, like I could just feel it. So this understanding has been there. It's not I can't identify one point in my life where it just happened, because we're going back to like 7 years old. From the farthest that I could remember, I was in that state. And sometimes that state shifted, but it's always been constant, so.
Fabulous. Do you feel like you brought those abilities through, maybe through past lives, or something else?
Well, past experiences, yeah, because so this goes back to what I was telling you before. We are the highest versions of ourselves here right now in forgetfulness. So from the very moment that I was born here, I was born with everything of who I was from that past too, all here. Same with you, same with everybody. Even if they're unaware of it, it still is, because you can't say that that's not the case. Because to say that that's not the case would say that before you even came here, you had you were nothing and you were something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard when you look at it on a bigger picture. It's there's some kind of developmental process that's happening. Now, a lot of us are saying or believing that there's going to be a shift soon. I don't know what soon is, maybe the next, 5, 10, 20, 30 years, whatever, but a consciousness shift. But it sounds like it's not so much of a consciousness shift. It's that, we're going to allow all of the different realms to come back into this realm of consciousness we're in. How is that going to work? Or is that even the case?
Okay, so I'm gonna state this in a very convoluted way.
Okay.
Or this is gonna seem convoluted. But what I was showing is that yes, all the 12 heavens open back up again and things return. And so you're getting a lot of those returns as well already. I was told, I don't know the exact date of it, but it's back in my notes when I was in the fourth heaven of Eden, which is we're basically all here. So a lot of people we're already within the physical bodies, within the physical flesh, and some of them are here outside of the physical human body, but in their original form. You go back to the bodies in Antarctica, the original angels that are still frozen in Antarctica. That's why the Antarctic Treaty as well, among many things. But it's because a lot of these original bodies are still there, 100% still there. But I'm not going to sit there and also give a date to people of, oh, it's going to happen here, it's going to happen there. Because then, for instance, if I were to tell you, okay, the event's going to happen on July 31st at 2:45 p.m., automatically, you and everybody else knows that that's not true. In your subconscious, you know that that's absolute nonsense and bullshit, because you know that the event isn't driven on a specific date, that the event always happens within you individually. You are the event. Now imagine if I were to sit here and wait for an event to happen, and I would not put discipline into the outer body to access information, where would I be then? Nowhere. So all events happen all within you. Everything that someone says, look over here, the event's happening in the sky at this time, or the event's going to happen in this particular area, then all these, they're not necessarily distractions, but if the focus is not within an individual to realize that they are the very event that they've been waiting to happen this entire time, then that's when an event will happen. But that event will be purely within themselves, of accessing information, accessing the construct, accessing all this information again. That's the event. The flash of light is within you. That spark of light again is within you. That's what people are waiting for. But people just don't want to hear it, because people have become so docile in not necessarily that it's their fault, but it's a lot of people have become, with all the onslaught of attacks, a lot of people just given up. And there's no need for that giving up, because the giving up comes from trying to change something here. But the moment that you remember your home again, then you realize just your pure energy of speaking that is the ultimate weapon here, instead of trying to find tools and guns and things to fight people here. The power is in the words. Yeah. What actually stops wars? What actually stops violence? You could say yes, guns and weapons do, but at the core of it, what actually stops it? If you had an individual, two individuals, individual one, and I'm not knocking what you do. Thank you for what you've done. Yeah, but you have individual one that fights with weapons, individual two that fights with truth and words. Weapons will work, absolutely. They'll prevent things, they'll stop things. But if you are able to basically go, okay, and show them full love, who they are, to the core of them, their soul, the other side, and change them at that frequency level, that stops wars permanently forever. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Beyond belief. So yeah, and I've noticed that, there were times where I was like, okay, I'm the ultimate fighter, I'm the ultimate warrior.
Mm.
But there's a limit of what you can do. But there is no limit to what you can do when we're talking about as far as consciousness, sending the love, creating an environment through negotiation, peace, and so forth. That changes everything. So that is really, you're right. That's the thing that really conquers everything. I would say, like, the war is like the most primitive form, and then what we're talking about as far as the love and showing people who they really are. That's the thing that really changes everything, and we're moving in that direction. I think we're close. Maybe
Well,
all the
yeah,
war
yeah,
that there's going on is not so much, but we'll see.
yeah. Well, it's because back when uh the whole pandemic thing that they call
Right.
controlled control thing
Mhm.
happened. So a lot of people died then, passed away. And just so happens to be, it's an unfortunate thing. But in order to wake somebody up, typically you have to hear, typically you have to take away wealth from them, their physical possessions, to get them to wake up and question something, or come face to face with death. Because then they need to question, well, where did they go? Where did my brother go? Where did my mother go? Where are they actually? And that has sparked a big movement already, because people are now trying to question of their being face to face with their death again. So hmm.
Hmm. Very good. The, recently, my son passed away, and I saw him on the other side, or in some realm, where there was, like, seemed like angelic were standing by, and he was seeing his everything that he did that was not in love. It
Hmm.
wasn't any judgment whatsoever. If there was any judgment, he was like inside himself or whatever. But he was seeing, all the things that he had done that weren't within love. And I've heard you talk about that, and it's kind of like on the same theme that we're talking about. Is like the soul continues. It's a learning process on the other side, and we hear that he's going to hang out there for a little bit longer than instead of jumping right back in. To Now, when you stay in that realm for a longer period of time, what does that do for the soul? Is it a positive, or is it better to come back, or because you're not really changing much, or what? How's that work out?
So the longer you're on the other side, the
Mhm.
more you realize you again. Just so the longer you're there, and if you choose to come back, then will you have power? Yeah, you will. It depends on how strong the will is, even on the other side there. So, and this is where you go into what you just said with him. You carry regret there. So the regrettable is the unforgettable, just like the unforgivable sin is the one you can't forgive yourself for. It's goes hand in hand there. So even though there is love, don't think for a moment that when you leave here, your emotions, guilt, any of that goes away, because it's
Hmm.
still there. It's still there. You know, just the reason why I'm even more into doing acts of love, even more than I was, is when I was showing a short life review too of myself, small
Hmm.
parts of my life, holding back love, and I actually fell to my knees and I started crying. Not because I was begging anybody for forgiveness, but I was just like, why would I do that when this is my home? Realizing the purpose of things. So like even that love actually brought me to my knees, brings everybody's to their knees, regardless. So yeah, you're just pretty much saying the same thing there. I don't think there's anything to add to it really.
It's beautiful, beautiful. So the awakening, we're in the awakening process. We're getting to that point, heaven on earth. if you will, is coming. And when you're in these realms, do they tell you sometimes we want you to, like, go back and tell them this?
Uh, I've been told not to say certain things. Some things I've
Really?
been
Yeah.
told to show. Yeah, yeah. So there's I've gotten visions of the future, one out of my body too, and that may seem like far out there for some people, but you're just accessing the potentiality of time,
Hmm.
of being actually shown. You walk this. This is what happens, and I've actually ignored a handful of those things that I was shown to actually just walk right into a trap, pretty much,
Hmm.
and have it play out exactly as it was shown to me. So, and anymore, it's not necessarily that I just go, yeah, I listen. I'm just listening, but it's more of like I know now. I know certain things that are said prematurely only set somebody up for failure, not success. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, there's been some things that I choose not to say, or
Mhm.
depending on the platform, if I'm showing a certain way. Like there was an interview that I did. This is about last almost a year ago now. I was shown very very vividly not to say something or go into a certain topic. And going into that, it would never be aired. And as I'm there, doing my thing, talking, and the individual asked me a question. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go there because I could already tell that if answering that with 100% truth, you won't even accept that. And therefore, you will just shut it down and not even air this thing at all. So I was just
Wow.
like, okay, I'm not doing it. It would have played out verbatim, but I'm not going to bring up names or anything like that. I'm not going to do
Sure.
that. But yeah, because that's not the person that I am. All right.
Yeah, I do that too. I'll see things through remote views, or I'll
Mm,
get intuitions about things, and I'm like, well, this has to play out.
exactly.
Humanity's got to experience this and decide,
Yeah.
which way this is going to go. Because I think that as some things come to us, like you've talked about in your work, we are great manifestors
Mm,
if we start to understand that. But most people, unfortunately, at this point, don't understand that, and that's the work that we're about to try and awaken them to that potentiality, and that'll bring that heaven to earth that I think is coming. So when it comes, depends, I guess, on the level of consciousness here. What are your thoughts?
um, I'm, I wouldn't wait on people.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's so. I'm going to say this. So if everything here could be stripped from me, no, knowing what I know, I actually want you to feel this. Knowing what I know, they could anybody here could take everything away from me, take away all possessions from me. Will I be in pain when that happens? Yeah. But even if you take everything away from me, I know me, who I am, where I return, my soul, my essence. And the only thing that matters is the truth of the other side for me and spreading that. So
Hmm.
even if people were to take from me or take from anything because I'm in that energy, then I'm already walking in the in heaven within. I'm already walking within. I'm already walking in heaven within myself, because
Beautiful. Hmm.
heaven is experienced when you step back into that state. Because it doesn't matter. Everything could be handed to somebody on a I can't fucking say it for some reason,
Super
but
fun.
yeah. Could be handed to somebody there, and you could hand that food and everything that someone needs to them. And this realm could be an absolute peace, absolute beautiful heaven. No one has to work, no one has to do anything, and everything's handed to an individual like that. Eat from it. And if they are not within themselves, within that peace and heaven within, then they will even find something to complain about even when things are given to them. There will always be something wrong, better, because they're not within that heaven within. So even if they are at heaven and at the gates of heaven, they won't even experience it as heaven because they're not it themselves.
Brilliant. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we've all experienced people like that. No matter how good it is, they're still going to complain about something. Now, it's like when I listen to you, it's almost like you're an ascended master, on the level. I don't want to like blow you up too much, but on the level of Jesus, you're really bringing in incredible truths. When I listen to you, it's like, geez, it's unbelievable. I can't think of anyone else that I've heard that it tells the truth so plainly and easily like you do. How does that fit for you? Being, do you even think about that? Has anyone ever said that to you, that you're one of these great prophets that's come to help? Is that your intention, or how does that work out for you?
No. And I don't want that label either.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want any of those. I could see how that could be a motivator for people, but
Sure.
I don't want any of those, because the moment someone views me as something as that greater than, then
Yeah.
automatically I've already diminished them.
Yeah.
And I'm already failing at the purpose of what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what I'm saying. You could say, yes, it's vibrating from a place of like, okay, here's what I've experienced, that level of truth. But it should always be at a point to where you are no different. The same abilities are always within you. So I don't want to be propped up in that sense, even if people are
Yeah.
doing it unconsciously, because I already know where that goes. Where that will always lead is for people to always be under. And that is not the point of this. The point is, okay, here, let me help you. Now you're standing. You're standing. Now help other people stand. And that's the point. That's the whole point. Okay.
Yeah, very good. That humbleness, I think, is fantastic, and that's what I've learned. You just don't go there. So that people want to put you on a pedestal. It doesn't serve you or anyone else. So just stay humble and keep sharing. So what do you see going forward in the short term and long term?
What I see is this spreading more. What I'm doing for myself is I'm trying to target more things physically, understanding more of the electromagnetic field of the body and how to bring more abilities here. So those are things that I'm doing personally for myself, tapping into the abilities physically and also just spreading. So the thing that I see is forward is just more people becoming aware of themselves, pretty much.
Oh, beautiful.
That's what I see.
Fantastic.
It sort of has no choice too, anyways, by the way. even if they end up on their deathbed, that point's going to come. But yeah.
Beautiful. So any final words? We'll definitely share your website. Your website's fantastic. Your mission. I listened to your missions. Really good. Very nice. Anything else that you'd like to share?
Not unless if someone has comments inside of the YouTube there, because I know this is
Mhm.
live, or if you have anything that you want to know, anything else, then
Yeah. Here's one. This is from Bright Change. Ask Darius what stepping into love and living there looks like. I think love is distorted and misunderstood. What is the true state to do the greatest good?
okay. All right. This is probably not going to sound the answer that that individual wants to hear, but first of all, authenticity is the number one way to step into the highest version of love, because you cannot be love yourself without authenticity of yourself, truly being yourself. And if you're not truly being yourself, then automatically you can never help somebody else if you are not in that frequency. Now, in order to get there, people could get there in many ways. They could get there through a child, unconditional love, and in that way. But truly to step in it for self, the only way to truly get there is this. You have to get to a state, and I want everybody to actually do this exercise for a moment. Get into the state of mind. Just imagine for a moment, no matter what it is that you do, that nothing matters. There's no mission, there's no purpose for anything in all creation itself. Imagine that you go to the deepest parts of trying to access the truth of something, the number one truth of something, and you realize that that truth reflects back to you that nothing matters. No effort, nothing that you do here matters at all, and nothing that you do will ever matter. If you could get into that state, then you'll realize something. If nothing matters, and I am an all powerful being to on the other side to manifest and do whatever it is that I desire based off my will, what would you do then? What would you become, and what would you do in the state where no matter what you do, it doesn't matter? What's the first thing that you would want to do? What's the first thing how you would act? How would you be? And at that point, when you realize that, the moment you realize that simple, nothing matters, and you then go, okay, well, I would end up doing this, then you've identified right then and there yourself, your true self, your authentic self, with no mask, no pretending, no acting. Because right now we are running away from our self in love, because we are acting, we are pretending to be everything other than that. And it's only when you could go back to a state where no matter what it is that you do matters, good or evil, then that's where you will find the true authentic self. And that true authentic self, if you are unhappy with, and this is why I said before, the unforgivable sin is a sin you can't forgive yourself for, what would you do? You would have found yourself right then and there. And then that question, the question that the comment there, what would you do then? How would you share love in that way? Then the question goes back to them. Do you see?
Fascinating. Very good. Wow. And here's another one from Lily. Says, please, what happened when Lisa thought you were dead? How long did it take you to come back? Do you hear what's going on around your body when you're out?
Yeah, yes, I do. Yeah, I hear what's going on around my body. That experience was gone for about 15, 20 minutes. So yeah, I didn't have my watch on the time, but I could imagine my heart rate was below the 29 beats a minute. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. You get your heart rate that low. I've had my heart rate really, really low, but not that low. So that's one of the levels that you're looking for as far as your heart rate. Almost stopped, huh?
Well, I know when I'm out, the
Yeah.
point is sleep paralysis, and if I measure the rate, I could track it. When I come out, it does dip down. Yeah. So
Here's a good one. This is I like this one. Could you explain the veiling process that occurs when souls come here? Is this process guided by beings of some kind? Can something go wrong during the process?
so the veiling, I'm guessing they're referring to the forgetfulness.
Right.
Okay. So no, not necessarily that it can go wrong. So your memories of are still there. So you could say, how could I acquire the things that I'm sharing now? So they're not gone. They're just, you could say, they're scattered. And so what I was shown, when you come into here, you come into here through water, and then you could say that's where the memories bleed through water. This is where you get water holds all memory, all things.
Mm.
So the information is here all around us. So even though we are temporarily put underneath a veil of forgetting, you can remember it, but it just takes the will and effort to do so. Like, I remember the beginning outside of here, like how things, all creation, like the many different constructs. I remember that. The near death experience people remember that. How could they remember that? It's because they've accessed that information again. So
Hmm.
it's possible to break that veil. Okay.
Fascinating stuff. So here's, I think this is another one. So when we leave the body, for example, could I go and live in any of the realms for as long as I wanted to?
You can't necessarily go there and live for as long as you want to, because your physical body's still alive. So there's going to come a point where even though you want to stay there, that the body's going to come back up out of that process, and you're going to get sucked back in. And this is where you could learn how to leave multiple times in one night, but it could be difficult to do so. Now, can you get to a point where you say, I'm not returning? And I don't condone suicide or anything like that. I don't like necessarily answering questions like this, but there is a point of no return with this, just like there's a point of no return with a near death experience. So, but if you're doing this consciously out of your body, there'll come a point where you just get pulled back in, whether if you want to or not. Yeah.
And here's another one. We'll wrap it up with this one from
Okay.
Sunny. Can we experience other realms consciously while living in this body, or do we have to have an OBE or die in order to go to be in other realms?
Okay, so I would say, can you experience other realms while you're physically here? You can, but it's going to be like remote viewing, like what you were talking about. Okay, but you're never going to get that full, I'm 100% here, unless you leave. The soul 100% leaves the body. You're never going to get that. You're just going to get projections of your consciousness into a certain state, but never being able to truly feel something, hold someone's hand, hug them, etc. I think that's self-evident, but yeah.
Very, very good. All right, let me. I'm going to present your website real quick.
No need for the promotion. That's okay though. Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's if you want to share the mission stuff, that's fine, but don't. I'm okay with
All right.
this message. And people just look up my name, look up other interviews. I think you'll get what they're after. Okay.
Very nice. All right. Well, thanks, Darius, for joining us today. Great comments and great insights. The audience really loved it. So many questions. So it's really good. So thanks so much, and
Okay.
look forward to hearing your your shows in the future.
Yeah.
Everyone I've
I feel
listened
like I
to,
was just warming up with the comments there.
I know it's like we're just getting warmed up
Okay.
here. Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
Very, very good insights. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Cheers.
Mm.